I mean, this is a pretty damning report. You obviously don't think that the Chief Constable's position is tenable.
No, absolutely not. It is absolutely disgraceful what happened. The West Midlands police identified that local Islamist extremists in Birmingham were planning to attack the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, and instead of standing up to that and protecting the fans, they decided to capitulate by getting the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans banned. They capitulated to the threats of violence by the Islamist extremists, and then they tried to cover it up by pretending that the real reason for banning the Maccabi fans was that the Maccabi fans themselves were dangerous, and they quoted some alleged incidents previously in Amsterdam, but it turns out that was totally fabricated. The West Midlands police made up those claims about the Maccabi fans being dangerous to disguise the truth, and then they've misled Parliament afterwards. So it is absolutely disgraceful. The Chief Constable, Craig Guildford, and possibly some other senior officers should go, but the Chief Constable should definitely go. He should resign immediately. If he doesn't resign, the Police and Crime Commissioner, Simon Foster, should sack him. And if the Chief Police and Crime Commissioner won't do that, the Home Secretary does, in my view, have the power under Section 40 of the Police Act to direct the Police and Crime Commissioner to sack the Chief Constable, and that is what the Home Secretary should do if she is serious about preventing this thing from ever happening again.
So you're suggesting that while she hasn't got the direct power to sack this Chief Constable, she can essentially lean on the Police and Crime Commissioner to do so. Is that your argument?
It is. Well, she actually has the legal authority to do that. It's not simply about leaning on him. She can direct the Police and Crime Commissioner to dismiss the Chief Constable using powers under Section 40 of the Police Act. And if the Police and Crime Commissioner won't do it himself, the Home Secretary should force him to.
Now, you've described this as anti-Semitic, I think, a couple of times, including in the comments, but the report from Sir Andy makes it clear that he found no evidence to support a view that anti-Semitism played any part in the actions by West Midlands police.
Well, I don't know what their motivation was, but it was, I think, probably a desire to avoid any sort of they didn't want to stand up to the extremists locally in Birmingham. They wanted the problem just to go away, and they thought the easiest way to make the problem go away was to ban the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, who were essentially the prospective victims. So it's not really anti-Semitism, but it is certainly cowardice, moral cowardice, because they just wanted to take the path of least resistance. What they should have done is stood up to the extremists. They should have made sure those fans were protected and were safe. And where there were local extremists in Birmingham, Islamist extremists, who were planning violence, they should have identified them, arrested them, and prosecuted them. But instead of doing that, they thought they wanted to just make the problem go away by banning the Maccabi fans. And that was wrong, because they were banning the prospective victims.
I mean, you know, risk assessments are made. No one's suggesting, you're not suggesting, I assume, though, that, you know, these decisions are in any way easy. And police forces, you know, do come under, not necessarily pressure, but come under influence from lots of different people, which they should do in order to try and make the best decisions, shouldn't they?
Well, I think the police should be, firstly, policing without fear or favour. They should be treating everyone equally. And secondly, they should be providing the security arrangements that are necessary so that law-abiding members of the public can go about their business. Now, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans have every right to go and attend that football game, and if they were at risk from local Birmingham-based extremists, then the police should be protecting those fans, and they should be identifying and prosecuting the extremists. That's what they should be doing. Everybody who's law-abiding should be able to go about their business, you know, freely and without intimidation. But that is not what the West Midlands police did here. They decided it would be easier, more convenient, just to ban the fans entirely, and that is the wrong thing to do.
Are there any lessons, Chris? And I mean this is an apolitical point in all of this. I mean, the report is pretty damning, as you say. There's a lot of calls for this Chief Constable resign. Are there any genuine lessons or kind of, I don't know, kind of recommendations that can come from this that would apply to police forces about what to do in, and what, let's be honest about this, was in some ways a very sensitive decision for the police to make?
Well, I don't think it was sensible, because, as I said a moment ago, one of the police's duties is to make sure law-abiding citizens, which in this case includes the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, they should be able to go about their business without fear or intimidation. And that is the first lesson, right? The police should be enabling law-abiding citizens to go about their business. That's the first lesson. The second lesson is they should not be capitulating to potential aggressors. So the potential aggressors here were the Islamist extremists based in Birmingham, and they should not be capitulating and giving them what they want. What they wanted was the Israeli fans banned, and the police basically gave them what they wanted. So lesson number 2, do not capitulate to extremists. And then the third lesson is about honesty. If they'd just been honest about what was going on, I think everybody would have been able to understand what was happening, but they weren't honest. They basically tried to hide the real reason that they were worried, that why the police were worried, and they instead invented and fabricated a fictitious reason. So they were dishonest. So there are your 3 lessons, I think.
Okay, Chris, we're going to leave it there. Chris Philp there, Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, that joined us live from Central Lobby. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.